Yeah,
However,
exactly.
there was one exception. Under Castro's program, a single individual was born that met his expectations with flying colors. The cow was named Umbrablanca, Spanish for
Umbrablanca.
white udder, and she produced world record-breaking volumes of milk, peaking at 110 liters a day. That's more than
Hey YouTube, welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video with me, your history teacher, Mr. Terry, and thank you for joining me as I continue my search for historical knowledge found here on the internet. Alright, today's video was voted on by our awesome patrons over at Patreon, and we got some more salmonella coming at you, and this video is Fidel Castro's dairy adventures. Okay, we got cows involved, we got Fidel Castro, we got a communist leader of Cuba. What does that have to do with cows? What does that have to do with dairy? I have no idea. Maybe he's just lactose intolerant. I guess we'll find out. So I'm always excited to check out a new salmonella video, so thanks for recommending this one. Link is down below. Make sure to the original video, make sure you click that so you can support Sam, give it the view, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Now, there's a lot of you that have not subbed to my channel because I can see the analytics. Definitely, please click that sub button. I'd love to see you around some more, and you'll see lots more historical reaction videos, other types of historical content. Love to see more of you. Also, some links to some other stuff down below, Discord, my gaming channel, other fun things as well. But let's go ahead and get started. My little violin. Hey, kids.
Hey kids, let's talk about Fidel Castro.
Okay.
We're all familiar with Castro, right? Dictator of Cuba
Sure.
for the whole second half of the 20th century,
Pretty much.
main antagonist of the Cuban Missile Crisis, you know.
Sure.
Anyway, this man
Fidel Castro, holy cow, he has one of the longest reigns, honestly, of rule of modern era. I mean, you go back to the communist revolution that happened, Cuban Civil War, you know, a lot of names for it, back in the 1950s, and then just goes through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and only recently died. But yeah, one of the longest serving people in leadership in modern history.
man loves three things. He loves Cuba,
Sure.
he loves communism,
Sure.
and good God, does the man love dairy. Yep, you heard me right. The
Okay.
all-powerful dictator of communist Cuba is obsessed with anything related to milk and its derivatives.
Okay, so he can't be lactose intolerant. Okay, wait, we got a graph. What do we got here? I mean, if he was to rank those things, Cuba, communism, and milk, would he put milk at the top? I think that would make him even more interesting. All right, I wish I bled milk. I wish I had an udder. Milk bonerific. Oh, geez. Milk awesome. Milk great. Milk good. Okay, where is he
I
at?
drew up a little chart here, right? I call it the Leche Lovin' Ladder. At the
Good.
bottom, you got dairy farmers. Then
Okay.
you got Ross O'Donovan. Then Mr. Bones. Then starving babies. And then all the way up at the top here,
Oh my
you got
gosh.
Fidel Castro.
Okay.
Today, I'm going to...
Wait, where? Okay. I like milk. I'm probably milk awesome. I do like dairy. That's probably where I'm at. Go ahead and put in chat where you're at. Do we have anybody above me? Give your evidence.
Starving babies. And then all the way up at the top here, you got Fidel Castro. Today, I'm going to share a few true stories that illustrate his preoccupation.
All right.
Okay, the first one isn't really a story so much as a fact, but according to several
Okay.
sources, Castro was known to be able to eat 18 scoops of ice cream after a meal. That's more than 2 pints. If that doesn't impress you, then go try it.
Wait, okay. 18. So he's done that. Like that. 18 scoops of ice cream. I wonder how much ice cream I could eat. I love ice cream. I don't know if I can do 18 scoops. But is that because it's dairy or because it's sugar?
For yourself. Me, I can barely manage a pint and a half on an empty stomach. And
Okay.
that doesn't impress
I
you,
feel
then go try
attacked.
it for yourself. Me, I can barely manage a pint and a half on it.
I kind of feel attacked, but not because that gut, that's me. Like, I feel that's like the right, like, elasticity of it, especially after ice cream. And it's fine. I'm okay with that.
On an empty stomach, and Castro's doing it on top of a full meal. But it gets better. Being such an ice cream connoisseur, Castro ordered the construction of an ice cream shop. But this isn't your average everyday
Ice cream.
parlor, not by a long shot.
Okay, what?
He built a straight-up ice cream complex, taking up an entire city block. This was a piece of modern
Whoa.
architecture, too, in total contrast to the surrounding slums, all for the sake of ice cream. The place is called Coppelia, and it's still open today. Of course, Castro's obsession...
Okay, so okay. I want to live somewhere, yeah, if you can have this type of infrastructure for ice cream. Cuba is sounding like a pretty good place these days. Ignore all the other stuff, okay? They have an ice cream block.
went beyond just personal pleasure. Dairy was so dear to him that it often found its way into diplomatic interactions. Like one time, a French diplomat came to visit, so Castro whips out some Cuban cheese. Specifically, though, it was Camembert cheese, a variety that France is famous for.
Okay, I love cheese. I like cheeses. I'll eat them. I've never heard of Camembert, but you're going to give the French cheese. The French have mastered cheese. And this is a form of French cheese? Okay, what's French guy going to think?
French guy was like, hey, not bad. It's almost as good as the French kind.
Okay.
Try it again. I think you'll find it's even better than the French. Alright, I wouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Are you disrespecting my cheese? In my house? On my island? No, I mean, it's good. I just said the French kind is better. Maybe if you froggy fucks bathed once in a while, you'd be able to taste the cheese instead of your own B.O. Listen, you've got your cigars, we've got our cheese. Live with it. Fine.
It's true. They got cigars. They can't take away from that. I mean, everybody wants the Cuban cigars. Okay, so he's very offended. He was hoping the French guy would think their cheese is on par.
Fuck him, it's good cheese. I'm paraphrasing just a little bit, but that's basically how it went down. So already it's obvious that dairy is of great value to Castro. Most exceptional, however, is how this value reflected in his leadership. Naturally, having an entire nation at his disposal, Castro wanted to bolster the Cuban dairy industry
he installed udders to the southern coast of Cuba, if I remember right.
much as possible. But there was one problem. Cuba initially had two types of cows called La Reinas and Zebus. La Reinas came from the days when Spain ruled Cuba, and Zebus originated from India. Both of these cows are well suited to the Cuban environment, having a very high tolerance for heat. However, they don't produce much milk, they're mostly just raised for their meat. So Castro decides...
Okay, so there's a certain type of cow that is better for milk than meat. Is that going to be ones from more acclimated to cooler temperatures? Is that why you can't have both?
They import thousands. They don't produce much milk. They're mostly just raised for their meat. So Castro decides to import thousands of Holsteins from Canada. Holsteins are the classic black and white cows, and as we all know, you can juice these guys for days. They are utterly superior. Only
cow pun.
problem is they're used to living in Canada, so when they're plopped down under the scorching Caribbean sun, it's going to stress them out. They're not going to be laughing cows by any means. So as a result, Castro's imports still didn't put out enough milk to satisfy his desires. At this point, your average run-of-the-mill Dairy Queen would have given up. But
more puns! Dairy Queen! If you're American, you know what that is.
Castro, he's more than that. He's a dairy dictator. So he ordered the construction of a giant air-conditioning complex with the sole purpose of providing a comfortable environment for his Holsteins. And it helped a little bit, but they were still stressed out. They still weren't putting out at their natural levels. And as
happy cow, you gotta have happy cows to produce tasty cows, I guess. I mean, you gotta be happy. That doesn't look very happy, even compared to the awful conditions that livestock are in these days.
Can imagine, climate controlling an entire facility is very expensive, so Castro was forced to abandon the project. But like the astronaut he is, Castro held on to his dream of finding the Milky Way. So he gathered a team of scientists and farmers and ordered them to breed together the Zebus and the Holsteins in order to produce a heat-resistant, lactose-pumping super cow. The breed...
Okay. I can't believe I paused. I can't believe I paused on this, but that's okay. Now that I have your attention... As you can imagine, cows in their current form are nothing like what cows kind of evolved from. Like a slow, fat creature like cows that you think of today could never have survived in the wild. This is a good example of selective breeding, where you take certain types of cows and you have them mate, and then they become bigger and slower and all that. They also become more dependent on their caretakers, us as humans. Otherwise they would never survive in the wild. They have no survival skills at all. But yeah, good example of that.
Breeding efforts were mostly a bust, never producing the bovine master race that Castro longed for.
Yeah,
However,
exactly.
there was one exception. Under Castro's program, a single individual was born that met his expectations with flying colors. The cow was named Umbrablanca, Spanish for
Umbrablanca.
white udder, and she produced world record-breaking volumes of milk, peaking at 110 liters a day. That's more than
I don't know why that picture.
world record-breaking volumes of milk, peaking at 110 liters a day. That's more than 29
I don't know why
entire
that killed me.
gallons of lactation. Needless to say, Castro was absolutely
Horrific.
euphoric at this isolated success of his. To say he went ballistic would be an understatement. He went intercontinentally ballistic. Like, India hasn't got shit on the levels of cow worship that Castro performed. Daily updates were published in the Cuban
All right,
National.
historical context. Yes, in India, a cow is sacred. They don't eat beef, and it's ancient. That respect for that veneration of cattle goes a long time. So they have cows everywhere. They'll be like running around the streets and stuff, and they cause traffic jams because no one wants to harm them.
Newspaper describing Umbrablanca's health and
Oh,
productivity.
geez.
And when
Still
she died
juicy.
in 1985, Castro commissioned a giant marble statue of the cow in her honor. He also had scientists harvest tissue and egg samples for the sake of
Umbrablanca.
preserving her DNA. After Umbrablanca's death, Castro's plans for the Cuban dairy industry got even more desperate and ridiculous somehow. This is based off of an actual conversation that he had with his team of scientists in 1987. Okay guys, hear me out. What if we make cows that are the size of dogs, so that way they can live in people's apartments with them? Fidel, I don't think that's gonna work. No, it'll work. You just
What do
have
you
to
breed 'em
grow
with?
grass in the apartment too. You can't be serious. Yeah, you just gotta put up some fluorescent lights. Bam, little grazing patch for your doggy cow. You are a fucking lunatic. And obviously nothing ever came of that idea. And Cuba's dairy industry is still floundering today, sadly. So yeah, if you haven't gotten the picture by now, the dude likes milk. Imagine
no
he's at
idea.
the birth of his grandson, right? Ah, what a beautiful baby boy. Fidel, there's something we need to tell you. Your grandson, he's lactose intolerant. Prepare the firing squad. Anyway, there's plenty of other miscellaneous stories surrounding his little preoccupation, like the time the CIA tried to poison his milkshake, so I just decided to highlight
Oh,
a
what?
few
Real?
quick
What?
ones.
I mean, there was a lot of assassination attempts on Fidel Castro by the United States, and they all failed, and they were horrible at it. But that would be a perfect way to do it. Let me go back.
Like the time the CIA tried to poison his milkshake, so I just decided to highlight a few big ones. Anyway, that's
Good
all
plan,
for today.
though.
Till next time, I'm Sam Manella, and thank you for watching.
Holy cow! I had no idea. I had no idea. All right, so if even a little bit of that is true, that is pretty incredible. That is, yes, a bovine obsession there. What a great story by Seminole. One of the most interesting ones. This guy Castro, that he loved that so much. And it seemed like, again, it was coming back. Well, I was going to say, it's coming back to ice cream, which seems like his favorite thing. But then he also was, wanted to get into cheese. So it wasn't just an ice cream infatuation. He's got a cow infatuation just in general. I guess it's actually maybe it's more cows than dairy, but because he also was trying to get the cheese going on and was very offended when the French didn't like his cheese. Wow. If only that could have been used to improve the state of Cuba more. And then it wouldn't have been so weird, right? Because they don't become this dairy powerhouse. But man, what if they could have? What if they could have derived some kind of dairy that came from a very specific Cuban breed that just rocked the world, whether it's a form of milk or ice cream or cheese or something like that. And then we wouldn't be talking about the cigars being known for Cuba, but the dairy of some kind. And it sounds like that's what Fidel would have wanted. Very good. No wonder he stayed in power so long. It was the cows. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me here today. The original video link is down below. Definitely check it out again. Give it a thumbs up, like, all that stuff. Definitely sub to my channel. Love to have you around. Thanks for liking the video if you do that as well. And with that, I think we'll call it here. I think I'm going to go get a glass of milk or something. something. All right, see you next time.